There's also reluctance and a choice to stay within certain lines. One could get the impression that to be as safe as possible is deemed by persons who choose to do that, and they have a right to do, to advance.
Oh, to advance. So I'm glad you mentioned that about advancing, because I am saying, if it is that you want to advance, because now there's no semifinals, which means that you, from the 10th, you go straight to the finals. At least if you went to the semifinals, okay, more people could see you. Right now, I mean, you've now gone to write a song about the CEO of the competition. That what are your chances? You think that this might go against you? Didn't that go through your head as you were writing the song, that the chances are there you might not get to finals with the song?
When I did Reading for Pleasure,
Mm-hmm.
I registered that for the competition. And I registered it because if I performed the song well, which I did, I think on that judging night, Donella was flawless. Donella was floating on a cloud in terms of her vocals and performance. She was incredible. But you could go on YouTube and see it yourself, because I think Stephanie Chase recorded it, my judging night performance. I destroyed Lloyd Erskine Sandiford, didn't put a foot wrong. And I believe, most people believe, that finals should have been the destination, but it wasn't. But the reason why I judged it, because I had another song called Music We Love, which was a pan song and spoke about the history of certain singers and etc. And they said, well, why didn't you judge that? I said, well, if I judged that and not Reading for Pleasure, then the NCF could say, you can't say he was victimized for singing that song. And he mentioned the Prime Minister and Carol Roberts in that song.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say he was victimized because he never judged it. You can't say the judges wouldn't have treated him fairly because he never judged it. I said, no, that's not going to happen. I'm going to put the pressure on you. So said, so done, and we know the outcome. So this one, I registered it because I felt Barbadians must see that we are not living in fear to express ourselves in a manner which is legal, fair, and creative. And in the event we don't share our views, then Calypso, and the competition in particular, will not have any flavor. It will all be plain milk. There'll be no chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry, malted, or peanut punch.
So you're bringing that variety. Now, what about the response from the audience? So you did it for the first time in your tent. What was the response?
Carter's Shining Stars tent. That was at the All Souls Yard, Churchyard Bank Hall. I want to say goodnight to Julie. Julie, brilliant job in the 5th anniversary of the Carter Shining Stars. And I pray that the anniversary will be successful in addition to the way in which you prepare, produce, and present the Carter Shining Stars. So I was backstage. Red Plastic Bag was backstage because he was our guest performer. And I had this song in my heart for a whole year in terms of the concept. And I put all the ideas together in February.
Mm-hmm.
And I had so many verses. But I said, well, Adrian Clark has a strategy where he has very short band choruses, especially if he has a song which is fiery lyrically. You know, the sweet songs he does, the soca songs and the introspective songs, They're brilliantly put together and they're a little lengthier.
Yeah.
But when Adrian is on fire, he doesn't have long band choruses. He always has something happening. Same thing with Ian Webster on certain songs. So I said, well, I don't want it too long, and I want something to happen in every part. That's why there's always something said or done throughout the entire song, from beginning to end. And excuse me, that's how the song got put together. My arranger is Andy Williams, the great Andy Williams. And I asked him if he's willing to do it. He said, bring the song. And the song, I did it. He was in the audience. I wasn't aware, but I understand he got an award because Julie was sharing awards for people who've helped the tent over 5 years. The place was packed. And I said, Nobby, you have to nail it. You have to nail it. People are seeing and hearing it for the first time. Have the right level of aggression.
Yes.
And where possible, control. But it's a funny song. Now, excuse me. Shad, this is the Liverpool Cup, by the way. Liverpool, the best team in the world.
We know
Shad,
that's
and it is water, okay?
What? I know it's water.
And Sade, we had a workshop with the All Stars a few years ago. And Sade, Leon singer, she says to me, you write good songs, you know. Sometimes you have great songs, but you always look as though you want to kill somebody on stage. Sometimes you've got a humorous song, but you're still on the serious part. You don't smile. And sometimes we want to know if you plan to hurt the audience or something. So next time you got a song and it's got humor in it, make sure you have that right balance. So
Yeah.
I was remembering all that, and I took to the stage. And opening night always has quirks. Sometimes a lyric comes to you that wasn't supposed to be there, or your entry slightly off in terms of your key, but you catch back. Sometimes you don't sing the part that you're supposed to sing to prompt, the background team. I want to say hello to Debbie and the team. They're great. And I just kept going. I felt I was surprised. You know what surprised me?
Yeah.
When I got to the part, happy Kropova, no. And then I said, happy Karolova, and the crowd went up in an uproar. And I'm on stage, and I'm saying, you're not supposed to go up, yeah? I've got a lot more to say. What's going on?
Changes sometimes, can have impacts that people would prefer not to experience.
Well, there are traditional elements that should remain, because the further you go away from the origins, then you are creating something else. You're in danger of having something that is almost 100% removed from the crop over we know. And people say, oh, it's a bunch of 50-year-olds older than that, complaining, they're not young anymore. And they've got certain types of standards that are fluid. Maybe that's a good word, fluid. So Barbados has to be careful. And let's look at the Calypso competition. Now, you have to put the name of your song when you register. One Calypsonian told me they didn't, but it's very clear that you have to put the name of the song before you register or as you register. This is with one song. The beauty of two songs is I have a song called Eternal this year, and it's very poignant because I thought about it after Alvin died this morning. I released it early in the season. It says, one day this life will be over, and the things that you do, you will do them all no more. The people you meet, the places you go, the food you eat, all you know, one day no more. For it is appointed unto man once to die, and then judgment. Eternity is real. It's either heaven or hell. Death is a fact of life. We are born to die. And those who are born twice can say it is well, well, well. Now, I brought that song out after not recording it for 19 years. A song like National Carol Festival in a 2-song competition would be paired with the philosophical, inspirational, eternal. Right now, you have to have one or the other, or mix elements of the two and enter it in a competition. But I don't write for competition. I understand their categories, and my songs meet the category. But a song like National Carol Festival has to stick to the topic. It wouldn't make sense me singing about iWeb, ASC, classic, or blood in that song. It's not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessary to do anything other than perform the song, to the point where Friday night, the next Friday night, and the Monday at judging night, I have to wear the same outfit, because that outfit is synonymous with what the world is seeing now, because the video has gone viral and people will instantly recognize me when I walk on that stage. By the way, you didn't hear me say happy crop over or welcome to the tent when I entered the stage. I normally do that, but that would be in contradiction to what the song is about.
I got
So
you.
it was important to go on the stage. And this is another fact for all of you watching this evening. The hat, the tie, the shirt, and the shoes were bought and worn at Richard Stout's funeral.
Okay.
Right? The suit is the suit that I wore when I gave away my daughter a year ago. Now people said, but you wore that suit last year when you did the Aero Barrow song, and you wore the national colors inside. I said, yeah, I wore the suit, but clearly it wasn't seen by the people that mattered. So they won't recognize the suit this year either. It will be like a new suit when I wear it.
Have you actually gotten to this or previous calypsos?
Well, to the song, now that it's been performed and it's gone viral, there's been no feedback or communication, written or otherwise, to challenge me on it. People have a right to say and do what they want, initiate, instigate, or create opposition. That's their right.
Yeah.
I have a right to defend if necessary. What's interesting about this song, it's the first song that hasn't divided my audience.
Okay, interesting.
When you think of all the songs I've ever done, somebody has a problem with it, or a portion of the audience, the active calypso loving audience, might have misgivings about a part of it because of what they support, who they support, what they like, what they don't like. But this reaction is the first time ever that I haven't received from the calypso public, and this song is out there, a groundswell of pushback. I think that speaks for itself. And in terms of how I will be treated, well, the competition has clear rules and clear criteria. And the same way this song hasn't divided anybody, it has the most eyes on it, the most ears on it, and that focus will be, from a competitive perspective, in good measure when judging kicks off. And it kicks off on the 14th of July at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre with the Carter
Wow.
Shining Stars.
What
With
time?
the first
14th of July, and it's at the Lord Erskine
Erskine
Sandiford.
Sandiford Centre. Yes, and
Uh,
Carter Shining Stars, 8 p.m., the first tent being judged. And I usually come in the second half towards the end,
Uh-huh.
and I've done that for many years. I like towards the end. People say I like towards the bottom so much. That's why they place me there, but they can draw their own conclusions. You know,
But
I
Ronnie, let me put a plug there for those of you who want to go out and support the announcer, Lord Erskine Sandiford, the 14th of July, the Shining Stars Carter's tent. It's going to be 8 p.m. and that's the first tent that's being judged. And
yeah,
here,
and we're gonna be on Friday at St. Barnabas. People asking us if we're doing a church tour, but we got lots of requests after Julie took the tent to All Souls, which is our church, by the way, courtyard. Then we went to Christ the King in Rockdondo last year, and we don't have anything in our tent that is incompatible with what we are encouraged to be and encouraged to do in the messages that the reverends and the pastors would share from the gospel. So the setting might seem strange, but you know, Philippians talks about whatsoever is good, whatsoever is noble, whatsoever is praiseworthy, think upon these things. And that's a lot to think about. So we're going to be there. And then we've got another date the following Friday before we get to the judging. So, you know, we're
yes,
ready. The National Cultural Foundation should be looking at the artistic profit, the creative profit of the nation. In addition to that, the only major performance element that is sponsored is Pick a Crop. Party Monarch isn't sponsored, it's not on. Soca Monarch isn't sponsored, it's not on.
mm-hmm.
So I don't see why ensuring that levels that develop the quality of this traditional aspect of the festival shouldn't be introduced. But I'll say this, everybody has their own style of management,
Mm-hmm.
their own style of leadership, and they believe in certain approaches and processes to effect the vision that comes with their leadership and style. My prayer is, and I hope I live long enough to see it, is that there will be someone who will have that authority to implement what many prefer and desire. Like I said
Yes.
before, this is not anti anybody. I love the NCF. For my time in Barbados, 40 years, I've always worked well with them. I've had differences of opinion and been at the end of some unfortunate, in my view, circumstances. But I love what the entire team at the NCF is doing for Barbados. But I have a right to disagree, and I have a right to voice my opinion. I am sponsored this year by freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is my sponsor this year. Just to remind the Marcia that we will be at the St. Barnabas Churchyard this Friday from 8 p.m. So if you can't make it the 14th, come out this Friday. The entire team will be there. We've got the band. We just got everything right for you. You need to come and see what Julie is going to be doing to make it wonderful for everybody who comes on Friday. Special thanks to all of you for your comments and your support. You know, it reminds me of when we had the COVID town hall meetings and I shared what I was led to share. And it's the same type of support that I'm getting today. You know, we have to speak our mind, we have to speak the truth, and we have to defend the right to freedom of speech. Be respectful, but
Yeah.
don't be scared. Don't be intimidated. Don't be bullied. All right.